listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Red Moon Podcast, live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m., even when America turns red on this election night. That's right, we're here to give you a little bit of a break from the polls. Hopefully you got out there and voted today. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
And he's back, guys, but he's still feeling a little under the weather. How you doing over there?
How could I still be feeling under the weather when I wasn't feeling under the weather before? You can't still feel something you weren't originally feeling.
Hold on. Who said feeling under the weather had anything to do with just being sick? Maybe you felt down. Maybe you felt sad.
I didn't feel under the weather last week. That's not why I missed.
Oh my gosh. Trying to tie it together.
You're trying, but you're failing.
Because you won't let me succeed.
You weren't sad?
You
No.
just destroy
For your family?
No.
There you go. See?
That's their problem, not mine. Actually, it is my problem,
Well, I was
too.
gonna say
It is yours now. Yeah.
How is everybody? We didn't mention.
They're all dead, but the commanders commanded us to live again, so we're all alive again.
Well, they commanded you to be here this week, and
so I
we're
guess
glad
we're
you
undead.
returned.
I don't know how that works.
Living dead.
I don't know how they do it
No,
either.
everybody's okay.
We didn't really let anybody in on the details last week. We weren't sure exactly how much to expose. I guess now that everybody is fine, do you mind walking us through a little bit of what happened? If you care to share. If not, we'll keep it private. And,
No. I mean, I do believe most people know at this point anyways that with all the people offering help and donations, my sister's house had caught fire, and there was what wasn't destroyed by heat and fire was pretty much lost to smoke damage, so they really only had mostly the clothes on their backs. I mean, there were some things that were salvaged, but not much. So they've been staying with me, and things are going well. I mean, there's been a outpouring of people wanting to help, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had high hopes. I mean, it comes in waves, and I mean, I think they're doing better now, a week from the incident than, the first few days when you're still processing. And it's
Right.
just one of those things now that, you've kind of gone through the motions of processing everything. Now it's like picking up the pieces, seeing what needs to be done, and getting on with it. So, yeah, things are going well, as well as they can be.
We'll continue to, of course, lift you and the Cheathams, your sister in particular, and her family. Lift them up in our prayers and keep them in our well wishes. Hopefully, they continue to receive an outpouring of love.
Love.
We want everybody to know that
is the only thing.
That's it.
Yep.
Love. I'm singing James and the Giant. Peach. But,
I actually didn't know it was from that.
I love that
I've never seen that movie.
Henry Selick.
Never seen. Is he Tom Selleck's brother?
No,
Or
he's
nephew.
the director.
Younger brother.
He did.
Oh, he is?
Nightmare Before Christmas, James and the Giant Peach.
Oh,
Coraline.
he's the one that came out and said Tim Burton didn't deserve as much credit for Nightmare.
I feel like he
Before
actually said that
Christmas.
he wished people gave him a little bit more credit. I don't feel like he was trying to say Tim Burton didn't deserve credit, but
Right.
actually, yeah, all Tim Burton did was write the poem, give some character designs and such, and kind of check in because he was busy doing Batman Returns and other things. Like Henry Selick was the director, and
Didn't know
honestly, when comparing his movies and Tim Burton's movies, a lot of the cinematography and designs and stuff, like I
think we could.
I see more similarities with that movie and James and the Giant Peach and Coraline than I do with Nightmare Before Christmas and like Corpse Bride, which Tim Burton did direct.
Frankenweenie.
Yes,
Didn't he do Frankenweenie?
I do
Yeah.
think, yes, it has both's DNA, but Henry Selick's DNA is definitely all
look,
throughout that movie.
Look no further than even his live action stuff. I mean, Big Fish was fine, but look, Big Eyes, Dark Shadows,
Yeah.
a lot of failure within recent years. Alice in Wonderland, sorry, terrible.
No,
movie.
I think Big Fish was the last movie Tim Burton did that I liked.
I like that movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Sweeney Todd was okay.
It was okay. You're
It
right.
was all right.
But I think the downward spiral
Yes.
started with like after Big
He
Fish,
crested.
Sweeney Todd was next, and it was okay. But then I just
Well, we're glad to have you back this week.
I'm here.
We had a good show last week, but
I love how we go from tragedy right into talking about movies. Immediately.
Movies.
That's right.
Well, he mentioned something, and then I.
Oh,
went
I
on a
know.
Henry
No,
Selick
it's great.
That's it.
Kick.
It's what we
I
missed.
started singing
That's
James
right.
and the Giant Peach.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
what happened.
But
See?
it just rolled right into
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what people don't understand. The spontaneity
I think that's more due
mixed
to
with
my
the love.
ADHD.
Well, they know that's going to be here every week too.
Yeah.
And as we already mentioned, but yes, hopefully you got out and voted today.
I did.
That's
I don't
right.
have mine on
Oh,
anymore.
did you take it off?
I did because I had washed my hands and it got wet, and I was like, "Screw this."
See, I'm one of those people.
I didn't get one.
You didn't grab one?
Nope.
Did you not care?
I
they-
didn't see it. I didn't see it.
They didn't give him one.
They didn't give
No.
me one. I had to go pick one up off the table.
I was in line
Oh,
for
see.
40 minutes. I just went. I just
My place
turned
was
it in and
was
went.
nice. Like I went in, and the guy, which is I'm used to like the binder where they have to flip through everything. And they had the nice little iPads this time.
Yeah,
and they
that was
pulled-
actually
Yeah,
well done.
And like they showed me, and I could see my name, my
Yes.
address on the sign,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay,
it's
that was
nice
cool.
to
Yeah.
see,
Reassuring
Kentucky.
that it was me voting and not
Yeah.
somebody
Yes,
else.
exactly. And you have
But
to sign.
I went in, and this dude with the beard and long hair, like he was like, "Oh, come over here," and I was like, "Oh, this is because I'm a dude with long hair and a beard." Like I don't know, it was just funny. Like as soon as
guess.
as soon as
Come
I
here,
walked
Hurley,
in,
come
he was
on.
just like, "You."
Shine air.
So I go over and I sign, and then he's like, "Now she'll give you your ballot." And this old lady was like, "Make sure you get your bracelet so you can show your work." I'm telling my story anyways.
I am. No,
I'm just
keep
saying.
going, keep
I'm just
going.
saying because I didn't forget mine because she said, "Did you tell your work you were voting? Because now you have evidence." And I'm like, "Do I need evidence?" Like,
Well, I told Sean, I said, like, even if you work throughout the day or you can't go in the morning, you got to drop kids off at school or something, and your work isn't, doesn't end, the workday doesn't end
well,
for
they
you
have
until
to
after.
allot you
They
time.
do.
And I think that's why she was saying I have because
Proof
just
that-
in
yeah.
case like it was one of those situations where
I
I
don't
was
know if
going
they
in late.
have
But I was
to
there at
pay
like
you.
6:15 in the morning, which I know some people do work that early.
Polls opened
but,
at 6.
Yeah.
so,
But I
yeah.
was just like,
right in the door.
I'm good.
But it's like, I don't know if they have to pay you. I don't know if that's a requirement, but they do have to allow you the time to go vote. Your workplace does.
Yeah, I don't think they have to pay, but they do have to let you off to vote.
But
But if you get off before the polls close, they don't have to do anything
No.
for you.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You better figure it out.
That's exactly what my work would have said. It would have been like, well, I got to pick up kids from school, and I got to do something in Louisville.
You got plenty
I
of
gotta-
time after, right?
They would have been
Right.
like, yeah, well, you need to call somebody to pick your kids up and figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
But hopefully everybody got out there and voted. If you want a little break and a reprieve from watching all of the election coverage, which if you're a political junkie like me, I'd honestly, it's kind of hard to do this show tonight because we were doing it right up till right before we hit record and hit stream. We were in there watching some coverage. So we're probably going to have a little bit of updates throughout the show.
I just wanted to say that
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't looked, but Miranda said something about Greenberg winning, and I'm just like,
of course.
She's like, they just voted Fisher
Louisville
number
mayor.
2. Yeah, she said they just voted Fisher number 2 in,
That's
and I was
it.
like, yeah.
Well, if Durff would have played up that line,
Yes.
his signature line,
Yes.
but look, Louisville is a blue city, and trust me, in a very red state, and a lot of people, especially in the Southwest end, like us here, we are red, and we do not like what Louisville has become. It's looking more and more like Chicago and New York, and who knows, there could be some upsets up there this evening up in New York.
Yeah.
Watching that governor's race.
I hope so.
A lot of big news in that regard. We may throw in some updates here and there just because we want to know, but we got a bunch of movie stuff to talk about.
That's right.
We got a bunch to get into. We had a great. I don't care to just announce it right at the top because it's very rare. We had a great movie that we were able to review this week.
And it wasn't political or woke or it was just entertaining. I think
Surprise.
that's one of the things that elevated for me too, was that
Yep.
it was just focused on being entertaining and doing what it was setting out to do.
Which
so.
Hollywood does not focus or concentrate on mostly these days. It mostly just focuses on that former issue.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
we should let them hear the review.
Here is our review of the Roku original Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
In 1959, the world's most successful singer, comedian, and accordion player was born. Topping charts with platinum records, this legendary icon would even break into film in 1989. Now his life story will be told. Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, an original film from Roku, has released, and the incredible true tale, or at least true to Weird Al, has become a hit amongst critics and audiences alike. Starring Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Alfred Yankovic, with Evan Rachel Wood as Madonna, and directed by newcomer Eric Appel, Weird, the Al Yankovic Story tells, well, the story of Weird Al. A parody of traditional biopics of famous musicians, Weird hits all the familiar beats, from unsupportive, zealot parents, the creation of famous songs and music videos, drug and alcohol addiction, sex, and an epic adventure through the jungle. Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, is the stereotypical biopic made only the hilarious way Weird Al could. Co-written by Weird Al and based upon an original sketch from Funny or Die, Weird, the Al Yankovic Story nails Yankovic's surreal and random humor. Feeling like a spiritual successor to UHF, the film has the singer's DNA throughout, with Yankovic providing new recordings of his hit songs for the film. This, paired with Radcliffe's brilliant performance, despite many who thought him an odd choice to play Yankovic, together creates a fictionalized version of the real man that is both intentionally inaccurate, yet a hilariously perfect representation of the real man. The phrase, originality is dead in Hollywood, has become a massive understatement in the last decade. But recent smaller breakthrough films have been offering up a much-needed change to the franchise-laden status quo. With the horror genre enjoying some refreshing original films this last month and a half, it's nice to see a comedy, another genre that has been lackluster in recent years, go back to basics while offering a fun take on familiar tropes. Unfortunately, though, this is also the only real gripe I have with the movie. It is hilarious and deliciously Weird Al, and while smart and a fun ride, it's not wholly unique. Obviously comparable to UHF and any of Weird Al's music videos, which is fair considering the movie is his quote-unquote biopic, the movie is also very reminiscent of films like Walk Hard, which have also effectively lambasted celebrity biopic tropes such as addiction and drug and alcohol abuse, though I would argue that Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, does it better, though some of the jokes just feel too familiar. Weird Al's career has been built upon the creation of parodies of famous songs and music videos, and he has remained a fixture of comedy and satire his entire life. Well loved and devoid of the typical controversies many celebrities go through, Roku's original film lambasts stereotypes, packs in an all-star list of effectively funny comedian cameos, all while maintaining the humor and tone Yankovic has built a fan base out of. For this, I give Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, 3.5 out of 4 stars.
Holy crap, 3.5? That can't be real. We just gave a Weird Al movie 3.5 out of 4 stars.
I mean, it was a Weird Al movie.
UHF was good too. Not as good as this, though.
No, this was fantastic, and I 100% agree. 3.5 out of 4 stars. Couldn't agree more.
It is very in line with Weird Al's humor. Granted, he did help write it, and he did actually act as a role in it, and he did all the songs for it, so he was an integral part of the movie making process.
Right.
But yeah, it just is very true to his type of humor. He's a celebrity who's never really been into any type of scandal. Like, he didn't do drugs, unlike in the movie. He didn't, like, he's always been fairly clean and humble as far as, like, he's nice, he's courteous to his fans, and I think it shows with this movie too that it doesn't get political. Like, I'm sure he doesn't have the same political values I have. I'm sure, but
it doesn't matter.
But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter because he entertains and he focuses on that, and that's what this movie did, and I appreciate that. That it's something that was hilarious. It's not, like I said, the only thing I knocked it for in the review is I wouldn't say it's wholly original. There's a few bits that, like, reminded me of Walk Hard, like kind of the making fun of the drugs in the biopic.
Yeah.
Though I think this movie did it better because...
And I have a note on that, too.
Well, Walk Hard more focused on, like, parodying Walk the Line than just kind of biopic in general, whereas this was kind of making fun of those musical biopic tropes across the board.
There's a hot rod outside.
Okay.
It's going crazy out there.
I heard it.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that, like, this is based on Weird Al and he never did any of those things, and they even made a joke of it in the movie to be like, well, what celebrity hasn't done this? So I think that's why it lands better than Walk Hard.
And that was going to be the one note I brought to it, was because while it does remind you, the reason I think it plays off better in this is because not only do you not know Weird Al never did anything, they instinctively are smart about how they deliver the parody.
Yes.
And also the way in which it's like Walk Hard you knew was a parody before going into it about something very serious. This was a parody about somebody who's always been a parody artist.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I like the idea that it was like, no, he's doing a serious movie parody of a funny parody artist. Whereas it's like the other way around, it's like, okay, that's easy to do. Not easy in the sense that it's like Walk Hard's not funny. It's funny.
But Walk Hard is also very, I think, much more, like, I mean, it has some wit, but I think it's more slapstick too. Like, it's a lot of just dumb humor.
Right.
And while this is very bizarre and dumb, there is actually, you could see that it's thought out. Like, there is wit behind it because the jokes aren't just completely random. They are actually poking fun of things. So
Couldn't agree more.
I do feel like it's smart. Like, you can watch the movie and it is really stupid, but it is also really smart. It's an oxymoron.
Sean, what about you?
No, I was in the same boat. I mean, I started this movie and was just like, this is the movie that they're both saying is this great movie? Like, because you all had already both seen it and been texting about it. And
we normally have that rule too.
Yeah.
We do not text each other
keep
our
quiet
feelings
until everybody's seen it. But and I was just like, what is this? And then as it built, I did start to find myself like just busted up laughing because it was things that I knew never really happened. But then there's other things that like I'm not a fan of Weird Al, so it's not. I never was even when I was a kid. And it was one of those things where some of these things I don't know if he did this or not. Like I don't know if he was in a room with his buddies when he wrote this song and they all like. But
I did see an interview where he did admit to when he recorded My Bologna or Bologna.
It's by Bologna.
It is Bologna. He did admit that was recorded in a public restroom. Like that's true.
That's cool.
Okay. But again,
I think there's tidbits
for the
that
acoustics
are
and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was the things that I found like super funny because number one, I remember sitting around with some of my friends thinking of a funny song or even just thinking of like we used to sit around and play the drums and a guitar and sing, and we'd be singing just a song that someone else already wrote, but when we nailed it the right way, it was just like we'd all just blow up, like explode, like, oh my God, I can't believe we just did that. This is amazing. And so that harkened back to that and made me feel that again. But there's just so much funny. It really it kind of brought me back to Jim Carrey's performance in Man on the Moon and channeling Andy Kaufman. And I really feel like those are him and Weird Al are just two comedians that if they would have lived and met, that they would have just been hilarious because one of them is a parody of everything, and the other one was so like you didn't know if he was
goofy,
we didn't know if he was joking or not. Like I mean, it was
he just was a parody.
Yes,
but that's true about
no.
Jim
I
Carrey.
enjoyed. I gave it 3. I didn't give it 3.5.
Okay.
I did think it was very funny. I thought it was surprisingly a pretty clean film.
Yeah.
About halfway through the film, I was considering letting my oldest son watch that with me because I thought there's things in here that he would think is hilarious, and he might get him listening to some of the Weird Al songs on Apple.
And most of Weird Al's music is clean.
It's family friendly.
It's kind of the sexual stuff between him and Madonna was the only thing that would have made me. But there wasn't anything overtly.
And
it was just kind of innuendos.
It's rated PG-13, isn't it? So I mean,
it is, and I also like the fact that it matched Weird Al's tone from his songs. Weird Al has always been very family friendly. But he has innuendos that again, it's kind of like what you see in a Pixar movie sometimes, where not that family friendly, but where there's innuendos that are layers deep that parents get that kids don't. It's over their heads, and I like that Weird Al had the thing in there with Madonna where he didn't hold back. But of course, it's funny that they have this sex scene, and yet literally the next shot of them just making out is them laying in bed completely clothed and smoking like a cigarette. It's just comical. It's not, other than the innuendo or insinuating what happened.
What just happened.
And I completely understand if parents don't want their kid to see that, but you're right. That was about the extent.
That was it, yeah.
And I mean, there's some violence, but it's so over the top.
I don't think there was any cussing in the movie.
No, I don't think there was either.
I can't think.
So it's kind of weird because PG-13, I was thinking, it's going to have some language, but
no, it didn't.
I think it's mostly the innuendos and like drug and alcohol use. abuse is why it got that rating.
Well, it's violent. I mean, when the father beats the traveling salesman.
Oh, well,
down.
they go to the jungle and yeah. So that's violent, definitely. But I mean, even that I love because at that point it had gone so off the wall.
Yep.
Like it was a slow. Like it starts out where you could think it's almost serious.
Yes.
And then it just continues to go.
And
like,
that was the
Yeah.
best part of the movie. The pacing was so well done, and like you said, methodical and thought out. They worked on this script to the point of making sure some of the parody bits were thrown in to make you chuckle, but not go so overboard at first. And then they just layer it on in such a well-coded way that by the end of the film, this is the first time in a long time, truthfully, that I can remember laughing and having tears roll out of my eyes by the way the movie ended.
Oh, the ending was perfect.
ending
I don't want to
was
spoil anything.
I don't want to
but
either.
it was perfect.
It was hilarious and perfect at the same time.
I do want to point like two things out that kind of lead into each other because one, it is based off of a Funny or Die sketch, which they helped produce the movie. Weird Al watched the sketch years ago, and it actually starred Aaron Paul as Weird Al, and he thought it was so hilarious he started showing it at his concerts, and he got with Funny or Die to actually try to make it into a real movie, and they were going to hire Aaron Paul for the movie, but he couldn't do it, so then they went with
Aaron Paul
that would have been
Weird Al.
You will watch the sketch. The sketch is
I've
hilarious.
got to. I haven't seen it yet.
I wish he could have done it, but Daniel Radcliffe, who they went with, was just as perfect because neither one of them are. When you picture Weird Al, you don't picture Aaron Paul, you don't picture Daniel Radcliffe, and I think that's the point.
Exactly.
Sean mentioned that, but I do love that even though Aaron Paul couldn't do it, I think Daniel Radcliffe nailed it. Like he has really been into a lot of the quirky, more comedic type movies since he quit, or not quit, but since he finished Harry Potter.
And set himself apart. Yeah,
and I do respect that because I do think like he did a really good job of being the most Weird Al. Like it was just like you could tell.
And I love that they lip synced and Weird Al's voice and his vocals. I mean, it's like in Radcliffe, you can tell he's not doing a faux impress. He's probably really singing to get the muscles in his neck to show up correctly. But it's obviously
they dub over
Weird
with
Al's
Weird
voice,
Al,
and it's perfect the way they do it. And
Alfred
again, to go back to the
Alfie.
the humor of the movie. Again, there's different types. It's not. There is like more witty, intelligent humor. But then there's also some slapstick stuff that is no doubt what Weird Al's known for. And even Weird Al, it's like there's so many layers of the film that I feel like are just embody who he is within this film. It really is, if you've ever listened to, because when you're a kid and you find out who Weird Al is and you go on a binge of listening, you think it's the funniest thing in the world, these parodies, only to realize when you get older, you're kind of like, all right, it's a little lame.
I don't know. I still find many of them funny.
Yeah. But no, they are, and they're still creative. It doesn't take away from, but he's not doing it to be a platinum multi-selling artist to make something that is like. Well, again, they're parody songs.
That's what he is in the movie.
Exactly.
He's got multi-platinum.
But that's what's so good.
But he did have platinum. He does have platinum records in real life too, though. So,
does he really?
Yeah. No, he's been at the top of the charts. Like the whole him boosting other like musician sales is actually a real thing that happened. Like people.
Yeah, he did talk about that. Yep.
People wanted him to parody them once he got famous because every time he parodied somebody, their
what they call it, the what bump?
The Yank bump.
Yeah,
or
the Yankovic bump.
Yankovic
bump.
And he said it was funny because I think he was actually being serious. He was mocking the fact that they call it the Yankovic bump in the movie, but he was like, yeah, part of the plot is he's like, man, Madonna really wants that Yankovic bump.
Yeah.
Yes. Now that was obviously all fictional.
Yeah.
The Madonna stuff was fictional. But yeah, people actually wanting him to parody them for that sales bump was real. Yeah.
The record label for Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, or when Nevermind dropped, he said that when his version, which the parody name is escaping me, he said when that dropped, he said the record label for Nirvana called him and said, yeah, you just gave us like another million album bump.
Yeah.
Like just for making this parody because people went out and bought Nevermind.
They listened to his and laugh, and then they want to hear the actual song. It brings attention to the actual work.
I remember when Phantom Menace came out, and bye bye Mr. Anakin guy, or whatever. My this here Anakin guy, maybe Vader someday later.
But
now he's just a small fry. Oh, dude, I thought that was freaking brilliant.
Yes, I love that.
And it was perfect for
American.
He does
Don
a good
McLean.
job of through multiple generations using not only this parody bit but his likability and also his ability to tap into that cultural zeitgeist at the time and to say, okay, what's popular now and how do I, and he hasn't probably done parody. He's done probably some stuff here and there, but in recent history, I can't think of the last album he did. So this movie
White
coming
and Nerdy,
out,
I think, is the last thing I remember him doing.
see, that was back in high school.
Yeah.
And
he has had stuff since then, I think.
Oh,
I
he
just,
has,
I
no
just
doubt.
I don't keep up with Weird Al. I mean, I do like him, but I don't keep up with him. Honestly, my favorite was, I think, Amish Paradise in the 90s.
Yes.
Was my favorite of his.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Turn brighter once or twice.
Yes.
And even that, it's so good. The movie, I can't say enough good things about it. I really just enjoyed the humor. I thought it played to so many different types of humor, whether you like slapstick, whether you like intelligent, dry humor. It has so much in there. It's tons of celebrity cameos that are brilliantly played, and just very, very well done overall. Was just not expecting this.
Yeah.
It was completely unexpected. And I think that's part of why it's so, in my mind, endearing. Because of the fact that it's just a completely out of nowhere film that I'm like, a Weird Al parody movie about his life,
and
it's entertaining.
Yeah, well, also the streaming service that it comes from, with it being a Roku original film. I mean, they do have some other ones. I can't think of it. I know in 2021 there was a really good movie that was a Roku film, but they've if you've seen the trailer for the movie Dummy with
I don't know it. I'm not sure.
What's the girl's name from the? Oh God, what is the name? I can't think
brain fart.
Up in the air.
Oh,
Anna Kendrick?
Vera Farmiga or Anna Kendrick?
Anna Kendrick. Yes, she's in this movie with a dummy, a doll or whatever.
I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking
it looks
about.
really good. And there's another movie I saw last year that I was just like, this is a Roku original film. Like, this is crazy. Because
even when the title
you can't watch
came
them
up.
unless you have a Roku. Like, I mean, it's one of the things unless you get it online somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's that's awesome for a little streaming service like that, because it's just a free streaming service on there.
Truth be told, I thought that was
production value. For,
it was
good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a grade A movie.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I think even I heard them talking. I think it was on a clip of like a late night somewhere. But it was funny that I heard Weird Al talking about how the person who played Pee Wee Herman, he wanted to be in the film. Like, this was like a labor of love for so many involved. He wanted to be in the film so bad to play that part, and they wanted him in there, but he ended up flying himself out there. And he's like what little we paid him probably didn't even cover the plane ticket. He's like, but I think that's why when you have a project, no matter what it is, and there is a labor of love there, and you really feel that confident, and also you put yourself into it, I just, to me, this is the problem with Hollywood. They're so formulaic. They're so intent on just creating things that are going to be popular to get more money at the box office. And just they're honing in on trying to perfect that formula to the degree of just getting butts in seats. Yeah. And I think when you actually have something like, now, granted, the verdict is still out on how successful this will be because of it being a Roku original and it not being so widely available. Or who knows? Maybe, I know a crap ton of people out there have Roku devices. Now, whether they turn it on, they see this advertisement, and they click on it to watch it, that's another story. But it is definitely worth it if you have the opportunity.
I hope people do check it out and get to as much as possible. It does have like really good ratings so far, user and critic. I think it's lower on the critic end than it is on the user end on Rotten Tomatoes.
Of course.
It's like
I would say that's our rule of thumb.
I mean, it doesn't have.
If they're neck and neck with each other, then it's probably accurate.
Well, they're pretty close. I think the critics was like 86-ish, and then the audience score was 90. So I mean, they're close.
Yeah, that's good. I agree with it. Yeah.
But no doubt, absolutely worth checking it out if you can find a way to get a hold of it. It's a great movie, well worth the watch. I think we're ready to move into some headlines. Didn't you miss that last week, Keith? I know you did.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
You still under the weather over there? I'll pay you $5 if for the rest of the show you can only talk using that.
to express
You're
your.
gonna need a bigger boat.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was very well done. He's like,
You're
nah.
gonna need a bigger wallet.
Exactly. More like that was good. Alrighty, guys, let's talk about our headlines. We got quite a few to get through tonight, but of
right.
course, the big one on the block that we
Is
it's
it
not
though?
it's not because the title of the show we're actually going to talk about last. I want to start out with the boring news first. Okay, I want to start out with the boring news first,
Is this,
which happens to
our
be
Oscar news?
No,
No.
that's honestly that should be the bottom of the barrel.
We're talking
That
about
should
the
be the
most
bottom.
boring.
The most
the
boring,
most
that
boring
most of our
news.
viewers could care less about, and that is
I thought
Movie
that was
Pass
Oscar
execs.
news. But go ahead.
That too, but Movie Pass execs are in trouble. Surprise, surprise.
Not the ones that are resurrecting it. The
No,
ones who
yeah,
had
the
it.
ones who initially, yeah.
The ones who screwed up at the beginning.
Helios and Matheson. They're the
Get
ones,
their names right, or they're gonna have problems. Okay.
Not Stacy.
Yeah, Stacy the woman.
Yeah.
The one that's about to lose in Georgia.
Yeah.
She's behind the new Movie Pass, so it'll flop too. But no, the problem is the FBI or the SEC is filing a complaint.
Yeah, the
a
FBI doesn't
lawsuit.
do anything
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, no, they're part of the litigation
Oh, are they?
process. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
they put their name in there so it looks like they do something. See, we helped investigate that.
well, and then if they don't find anything, they just randomly barge into people's houses and hold them at gunpoint.
Steal all their
It's what we
stuff.
do best.
Yeah.
But no, the Fed lives matter. So what we want to talk about, though, is the fact that it's funny that basically the Securities Exchange Commission, the SEC, is putting forth an allegation that they were of ill will when conducting business operations with the original Movie Pass before they went bankrupt. For two reasons. The one biggest thing was that they reported to have different revenue streams other than Movie Pass, which was hemorrhaging money when they went to the $9.99 a month plan to see unlimited movies in theaters. They were like, yeah, it swelled from 20,000 to 3 million subscribers, but ultimately it was like, okay, there's no way you're going to make this work for long. And they were saying, well, no, we're getting data from our users. We're going to use that to sell off to other people, other companies that want to use that data. People are signing up for the service. They inherently have to give over that data. We're going to have a revenue stream that way. And then also, to piggyback off of that, we've also got AI investments to figure out in curation, figure out what people like and how they can go, and we can push movies on them even more to possibly invest in that type of technology that we can sell and make money off of. And basically what the SEC is saying, that's bunk. That's BS.
Yeah.
These are what led us astray into you all thinking that we were fools and we believed you. And this was all going on behind the scenes until, of course, you go belly up. And now all of a sudden it's like none of that was in the works.
No,
None of that was
the big
under
one for me is they were allegedly blocking subscribers from using the service in a bid to staunch the bleeding of
Which we knew.
finances.
We
Well,
did it here
they
on the
took
show.
so many steps to
But then
keep
they
us from going to see movies.
But they also, when people tried to cancel, didn't cancel
They
their
wouldn't
membership.
cancel, yeah.
And I mean, that was shady too, because you were getting charged a month after you had already canceled, and they'd be like, oh, we're sorry, that was a mistake. It's like, yeah, you're taking my money after I'd already told you to stop.
Yep.
And there's no way, and that was after theaters had already stopped taking the money.
Yeah.
And they were already banning people from using Movie Pass, or worse off, they weren't able to buy tickets from theaters. So the thing is they couldn't technically take your money or keep you from using it because it was like a MasterCard, basically. So it was like debit payment for the theater.
They didn't have to load the card though.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, even if they loaded the card, they couldn't actually get the ticket from the movie house.
Yeah.
So the movie houses shut them down, which in turn only allowed them to have certain showings for certain movies.
certain times of the
so
day.
then we started, all the users were like, well, this is bunk. This isn't what I signed up for. I'm bowing out. And that's when they were like, no, it holds on the counts. They kept you only signed up for 30 days, or their website would crash and keep you from being able to sign in and cancel. Sean, I know you had that that predicament when we first started canceling.
Yep.
And it's just absolutely insane. So I have no doubt in my mind this is going to be a pretty nasty lawsuit, and I have a feeling that they've got some pretty good evidence stacked against them.
Oh, yeah.
Because I will say one thing about the feds, love them or hate them, usually when they're taking you to court, the deck's stacked against you.
Yeah.
You know? And it shouldn't, I'm not going to cheer for that because there's a lot of innocent people that get caught up in, We don't want to go there.
Well, do you think the
Yeah, but sometimes when you are guilty, like
Yeah, rightfully
Movie Pass,
so.
it's like, look, you reap what you sow. You did this to yourself.
Right.
do you think this is going to affect the new Movie Pass moving forward?
No
I mean,
doubt.
they're set to relaunch soon.
It's tainted.
Yeah.
The name is tainted, and I think the only way and we've already seen a little bit of trouble from this in the sense that we've covered Movie Pass from what we've heard on this show in the past, and that was 6-7 months ago when news was breaking on the new version. But even then, we were getting some speculation, not speculation. We were speculating, and then it was kind of confirmed in the very dismal amount of information we were getting. They're not transparent. And that's the main thing people want. We want transparency, especially if you've already burned us twice.
And that's the problem. Yeah, they had where you could sign up early, but they've not been transparent about that, about what the tiers are going to be, what you actually will get. It's like, oh, sign up to be the first to enroll in Movie Pass. And It's like, okay, thank you, but I want to know what I'm signing up for.
Which is funny because that's came and went. The opening has
Yep.
come and went. And have you heard a word about
Nothing.
Movie Pass?
I don't even got an email.
I've looked.
Nothing.
Oh, did you sign up?
I did. I signed up with one of my email accounts, and no,
Just
I've
to
got
see,
nothing.
Yeah.
nothing. And it's like, okay, I mean, Stacey Spikes is saying that it's going to be different. He was there before all this nonsense happened.
She-
and
Well,
he's
they
sort of-
did
she
that.
was
She-
there.
Yeah.
They did that just to see how many people would actually be interested
Yeah.
in it. And
Yeah.
there was no
But
intention.
Well, and I
again-
think and here's the thing. It's kind of like any big business that's going to try to make a splash, and then they get out there, and when they don't make the splash they want, it's like retract, and then you hear nothing, dead silence. But I have no doubt in my mind that you have a terrible economy right now. You have so many different people out there that are. Oh, do we have a funny comment? No.
We're getting spammed.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
They want us to know that there's
sex spams.
dating for all ages and something else.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, hey.
New dating for all tastes and ages. Squirt.
Wow.
Squirt.
And then hot girl picks for you, Heart.
Sign me
Hot girl
up.
picks fireworks.
I bet you that's a better,
Hot girl picks squirt
service
again.
than Movie
They
Pass.
Got a
jokes
squirt
on
or a
them. They
splash
picked
or
the wrong.
something
They
here.
picked the wrong stream to spam because they're not going
Yeah.
to get anybody clicking on there.
69xxx.fun.
Hey, could you
You know that's good when you got a dot .fun.
can you pin that? I just want to make sure we take care of that later. Okay.
Pin that. Yeah.
Yeah.
let's
Thank
see.
you. Okay. I'll
No,
look into
I
that.
can block it, but I can't pin it. Sorry.
Don't block
We
it.
don't wanna
I'll,
block it.
I'll make sure I take care of that later.
They heard us talking about Movie Pass and thought, well, yeah, that's what spam draws
Like,
in
I'm
more.
gonna take care of it. The
Spam
only way
draws
to take
in
care of
more
it is to
spam.
look at it.
The only
It's
way
the
to
only
take
way to
care
get
of it
rid of
is
it.
to squirt.
Squirt
Why
heart
would
fireworks.
you name your
Squirt.
business Squirt?
No,
That's not
it's
the-
the squirt emoji.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
it's like the little.
I'm thinking it's
the
like
water
a little
squirting.
No,
squirt.
that's not
it's
the
like-
name of the business. That's
No,
just
there's
in the
one with a
message.
heart. There's one with a
Yeah.
squirt. There's one with a
It's
firework.
like, man, this business wants me to buy a sprinkler.
Hey, they haven't sent me an eggplant yet, so they don't know my taste.
So they got to send a tongue emoji and an eggplant
Tongue
emoji
and an
for it to be
eggplant.
official.
That's right, and a peach.
Peaches
The
for
peach
me.
looks like a butt.
Time will tell
All
with
right.
Movie Pass.
Peaches for me.
All right, now to move on.
Yeah, let's go on to our next subject.
Yes, now to move on to
Next boring subject. But whoa,
yeah.
God, dude, I sound like Fetterman. I can't even talk. Next
Boring-
one.
Fracking.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's talk about it. The Oscars
Yay!
have a new host
Yay!
after 2 years of having lackluster non-hosts.
Well, they had hosts last year. Last year
Oh,
was
that's
the first year
right.
back.
That's right. I
Chris
forgot.
Rock was last year.
That's right, because he got
He got
slapped.
slapped.
He wasn't the host. He just was
He
a
wasn't?
presenter.
Oh, that's right. He
No.
was the presenter.
No, the three.
Oh!
Yeah, Amy Schumer.
Yes,
and-
that's
yeah.
right, because she came down
The
as
three
Spider-Man.
bimbos.
Yeah, that's
Nobody remembers
that's
them.
how bad they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Jimmy-
they're bringing Jimmy Kimmel back.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jimmy Kimmel's already done it.
This
Yeah.
is his third time now. Which I mean, granted, in the past, like Billy Crystal did it a bunch.
yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg. It's normal to have repeat host when they are
When they do a good job.
Yeah. And I would argue his very first one he did, because that's before he started getting way deep into the.
Is that the one where he took people from the audience or something
think.
into another
Maybe.
theater or something?
I liked
next
the
door?
first time he
Yes.
hosted. I actually thought he was funny.
I think that was the right one. I think I think that was what happened.
But that's
yeah.
before he went way off the deep. Actually, I used to think Jimmy Kimmel was hilarious back in the Man Show. But
Yeah.
he's definitely.
Oh, he was a different man.
Yeah.
in the Man Show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he
what I'm saying.
was.
Him and Adam Carolla.
Jimmy Kimmel, I used to think was
It's like
hilarious.
Adam Carolla
but-
stayed the same. Jimmy Kimmel went.
Well, and that's what.
I don't know
no,
what
it
happened
just
to him.
proves he's fake.
Well, even
Oh,
when
It's
he
yeah.
took
not
over,
growth at all.
No.
It's like, dude, you know they pay the bills, and we we know you're just
That's
you're
right. He'll go
kowtowing
wherever
to
the
him.
money- yep.
Absolutely.
Even his early years as a late night host, I actually thought he was one of the more funny ones. But
Of
then,
course.
but then he fell into the trap as all the other ones. Well, now we got to make everything political. We got to.
Yep.
I'm gonna stand in front of the
Oh
audience.
no,
and
I
cry.
remember exactly.
And I'm just like, God, it's like you have millions of dollars talking about you can't how you have to afford your like. I'm sorry.
That
yes.
was it. That was it.
Yes.
That was the
Was it
moment.
the
it turned.
healthcare one?
It was
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
healthcare.
the Obamacare.
that he sat down and he came out with his monologue
Yeah.
about how his
His
son would have
child, yeah.
died
Yep.
if he didn't have Obamacare. I'm like, bull.
It's like you make
Yeah. All you
millions
have to
of
do is
dollars.
write a check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Like you, like anybody wouldn't have got on Twitter and freaking saw any sob post you made and not donated. He
Yeah.
would have had money the
Yeah.
next day. BS.
He didn't need it.
But of course he didn't need it. He is a multimillionaire. And yet here he is complaining and crying. He's like, I just thought about all the people out there who wouldn't be able to. And I'm like, don't
Write them a
freaking
check.
use this. Yeah, exactly.
And-
You want
and
to
it
put your
was.
money
You
where
wanna
your mouth
be-
is? Write them a
exactly.
But I
check.
agree with you. That moment on is he lost it because
Yep.
he went all in on the
Woke.
identity politics and he never looked
woke
back.
before woke was a thing. That's right. But it's funny because I just think of this this article that was put out and just some of the comments that were made. Of course, the Oscars saying Jimmy is the perfect host to help us recognize the incredible artists and films of our 95th Oscars. That's what CEO Bill Kramer said. His love of movies like TV expertise and live TV expertise and ability to connect with our global audience will create an unforgettable experience for our millions of viewers. The only way he can do that is if he slaps somebody in the
Millions of
face.
viewers?
If he gets Will Smith up there and slaps him in the face,
Oh, you know they're gonna make a
that-
joke about it.
Oh, yes.
Well, of course.
Yes.
They're already joking about it. ABC already had on The View or one of the Halloween costumes they showed as a kid
Yep.
was a golden statue at the slap. So it's like, okay, ABC, which airs the Oscars, is already making jokes on their shows.
Of
You know they're
course.
going to do it
Yeah,
in the
making
Oscars.
jokes about how they let it happen and didn't
Yeah.
do anything about
Yeah,
it
that's
That's
afterwards.
right.
Yeah.
And then awarded him.
Yeah,
awarded the very
exactly.
man that night and let him come out
Allowed
and
a
say an
standing
acceptance
ovation.
speech.
But then they banned
Yep.
him for 10 years, and it's like, it's a little late to be like, well, now what you did was wrong.
Yeah. Now we're going to scold you.
Yeah.
But it's funny because then I believe, this is still continuing the statement. Having Jimmy Kimmel return to host the Oscars is a dream come true, said Craig Erich. I'm getting that name wrong, but this is president of ABC. As we see every night on his own show, Jimmy can handle anything with both heart and humor. We know that he will deliver the laughs and celebratory moments that define the Oscars. This is all a load of
Oh,
BS.
yes.
When I hear these PR statements, I roll my eyes. But when they're this fluff, I mean, coming from the Oscars, who we just saw, like we just made fun of, not have a backbone at all, and literally have been one of the worst ceremonies to watch in the
been
last decade.
Losing viewership year after year. They only
Bleeding
had a
members
minimum
more than the Democratic Party
They
tonight.
they've had a minimum rise in viewership.
Sorry, I had
No,
to.
you're fine. They had a minimum rise in viewership last year over the year before, which was the COVID year. But even still, when you look at the trend overall, it's been a massive downward.
I want to know,
trend.
though, did that rise in viewers happen at the start of the show or did it happen after the slap?
I think it happened after the slap.
No,
Slap
no,
happens,
no.
and then everybody's tweeting about it, and everybody turns the Oscars on, and their viewership
exactly
goes up.
But
That's
the
what happened.
viewership, but the spike at the end of the show, I think it immediately dropped right after his acceptance speech. Everybody knew and had an inkling that he was going to win especially after winning the Golden Globe.
Yeah.
And so they tuned in after the slap to see what was going to happen. And then, of course, that overshadowed the entire rest of the night, which were only another 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And nobody remembers any of the other winners. We do because, of course, we brought up the fact that Questlove completely got overlooked
Yeah,
when he won
he
his
got
documentary, Best Documentary. And then you also completely overshadowed the Best Picture winner. And of course, it was really the idea was, why in the world are you letting this man up on stage to accept this award?
He should have been escorted out.
He
of the
should have been
building.
escorted out. And honestly, the award should have been. I think, truthfully, if his name was announced or they knew who was going to win, they would have said, "We are abstaining from announcing this category tonight." That would have been the rightful way to handle it. And they would have said, we will hold the envelope till tomorrow, and then if the respective party who was removed does win, we will award him off air.
Yeah.
That would have been the rightful way to handle it. But of course, they don't have any of these things set in stone because they don't have any character themselves. It's
No,
a
yeah,
room
that's what I'm
full
saying.
of,
They don't have
of
anybody's-
elitist celebrities patting themselves on the back, and they just got a huge. I mean, that's the real cheeky part of all of this, and the sad thing. They, like you said, they were hopeful after a week or so had passed, they're like, well, maybe this gave us a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, the
people
Will
are
Smith
talking
bump.
about the
Smith
Smith bump. Screw the Yankovic bump.
That's just Jada's head. The Smith bump.
That's terrible. Oh my gosh, you're gonna get slapped. He's gonna come from California and
Just
slap
to
you.
slap
He
me.
is. Yeah, that Will Smith slap.
Yep.
That's what you need in the ratings.
No,
Slap
my
heard
favorite
around the
part in the
world.
article here is where it says we're going to toast to the success of this year's cinema and storytelling. I'm like,
You haven't done that for 10 years.
when do they ever toast the success of filmmaking and storytelling?
That
Never.
is
They
No,
toast
because-
to global warming.
exactly.
And
They've
whatever
abandoned
else.
any love of film and celebration of it 10 years ago when they've allowed political rants to just go on nonstop. And you just have idiots standing up in the front row, Meryl Streep, applauding Harvey Weinstein. Come on. It's
Heart of
like
gold.
Heart of
Have
gold.
you seen the trailer for
Heart
the
of
movie?
gold.
Have you seen the trailer for the movie about him?
No.
No.
Yeah, they're making a movie about
Well, of course they are.
the Me Too stuff.
Who plays him?
I have to
Kevin
Google it. I
Spacey?
saw the trailer for it at the last movie I went to see.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
It was at
it's-
Black Adam.
It's that far in production?
Really?
Yeah, there was a trailer for it.
I didn't see
saw-
that.
yeah,
I did not see that
attached to Black
attached to
Adam.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
I'll look it up.
I want to
That's
know what it's
crazy.
called at least. We got to
trying-
name drop it on here. That totally escaped me. I'm gonna move on though. Once
ahead.
once
Yeah.
you bring it up, let
I
us know.
think they should have let Kevin James play Harvey Weinstein. Or Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen would be better.
Yeah, because I hate him just as
I
much.
could just
It's called She Said. The name of the movie.
I could
is
just
She
see-
Oh,
Said.
I think I have heard of this, but it's from it's from a woman's. It's almost like Bombshell, the movie that was about the Fox News with like.
Yeah, I mean it's a movie, but it's about
No, but I don't think it's indirectly about him. I think it's not like he may be in it or as a character, but I don't know if he's the focal point. I think
based on the real life investigation that exposed sexual harassment in Hollywood.
right.
It's got the Michelle Williams or no, that's not Michelle Williams. What's her name?
All right, IMDb. You can IMDb see who's in it.
Yeah,
I want to know who
probably.
plays Harvey Weinstein. Kind of curious.
I just saying, just picture Seth Rogen. Let me look at your toes.
You like my robe?
I'm looking high and masturbate. Like I just don't know. Be perfect, perfect Harvey Weinstein.
I need
Perfect
to
Harvey
clip that out
Weinstein.
right there. Keith just going, I need to masturbate. It's
No,
like
I'm
Sling
looking high and
Blade. Sling Blade mixed with Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
we'll go get some biscuits and mustard and masturbate. It ain't got no gas in it.
I done smoked Pineapple Express and killed someone.
Some people call it a Kaiser blade. I call it a sling blade. What's the line that you love from that Dwight Yoakam says? I freaking love that line every time you say
yes.
it. It's the one where he's like,
It's like a whole monologue.
it's a
he
whole
does.
monologue, and it's delivered beautifully. It's so freaking good.
We don't need to freaking practice, Randy.
Yes, love it.
That's the one. That's the one.
How did he go from that to freaking Cry Macho? He was
movie was
awful.
terrible.
Dwight Yoakam was awful in that movie.
That whole movie was god awful. It was bad. I don't know. That's 90-year-old Clint Eastwood. He does need to hang it up.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's talk about the last one, the big headline of the night. Yes.
Yes.
Carrie
JC?
Mulligan. I'm sorry, Carrie Mulligan.
Oh, she's in another one.
Plays the She Said.
So what was the last movie last year? Was it Pretty Young Woman or
The one where
crap.
she was
I'm forgetting it. Damn, I'm terrible. We're terrible with
Promising
names.
Young Woman.
Promising Young
Yeah,
Woman.
yeah.
Yeah, she was. So she's just all over those kind of
Mike
movies, I guess.
Houston
Yeah, Mike
plays
Houston.
Weinstein.
They had to pick a no
Who
name,
is Mike Houston? No, he looks familiar.
he's a chunky guy though. He looks like
but
he fit
they
the
had to
part.
pick somebody who didn't have a lot of
Yeah,
credits.
he's not. Yeah, he was in Deliver Us from Evil. Like he's not a huge name. Yeah.
I like I said it. Delivers from evil.
I'm like I don't know what I don't know what these movies are. Driven to Kill.
He
Well, you
looks
know
like
what?
a fat womanizer, so
Yeah, he does.
He's gonna play
He
Weinstein.
kind of
good.
looks like Weinstein. Yeah.
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 Well,
Oh, Ashley Judd's in the movie.
of course.
That's funny. She's gonna play herself.
Yeah.
Well, she was one of the ones that
Uma
accused
Thurman.
him of.
Maybe
yeah.
Uma Thurman will pop up in there. She was one. I mean, who's going to play Tarantino?
Who's
He's got to be in it.
Zoe Kazan. I've seen her before too.
I've heard that name.
I have heard
I can't
that
think
name.
of.
She's cute.
I'd have to look.
I have to see her
Patricia
picture.
Clarkson is in it. You'll know her if you see her.
Don't know.
The rest of them, I don't.
I have to see the trailer to see if I'm really interested.
Yeah. We'll watch it after the show.
Alrighty, guys, let's talk about the big one of the night. The big headline. JC.
Not
Is he-
Jesus Christ.
No,
We're
no,
talking
no.
about
Well, that's one name we'll say. We'll say Jesus
the
Christ. We
other,
don't say
the other
name.
prophet,
Well,
James Cameron.
could, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe he's showing a little bit of humility. Finally,
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Not in any manner at all.
Avaturd could be ending with number 3
They actually
instead of 5.
He had said this. This isn't the first time he said this, but this is the first time he's made such a definitive statement about it because he has said.
We got to read his statement
Yeah.
too.
Well, because he had said in the past that, depending on sales will depend on if 4 and 5 get made, but now he's really. And here's why I say there's no humility here, because I really feel like he's just trying to play up this whole, well, I don't even know if anybody even cares about me
Exactly.
anymore. No, but, I guess if you like me, go see me. It's almost like he's just trying to get, to boost it even further. Like, go see my movie, because if you don't, well, then you just never liked me.
He said the market could be telling us we're done in 3 months. Or we might be semi-done, meaning, okay, let's complete the story within movie 3 and not go on endlessly if it's just not profitable. We're in a different world now than we were when I wrote this stuff. I love it. He's so...
28 years ago, or
yeah.
however long ago.
I
he
just...
said.
I have
I
to
don't
admit...
think you're reading it. You got to read it. It's the
here we go.
1-2 punch, the pandemic and streaming. Or conversely, maybe we'll remind people what going to the theater is all about. He's just so pretentious.
Is that what he sounds like?
That's what he sounds like to me. That's what pretentious people sound like.
I thought he had an English accent.
James,
there for a
James is
second.
my
Pretentious. He's
James is my dad.
pretentious.
James is my dad.
Every time he talks about this movie, he talked about having a whole script written for it that he scrapped because it didn't have the spiritual element that the original had that they needed. And I'm like, you're so full of crap.
10 years ago, he
acts
was
like
talking about how this was going to tell every narrative he could think of could be told on Pandora.
Through
and
Avatar
every
movies.
single
Yes.
thing he
Yes.
wanted to say about human nature and life and existence,
they have
all
a
could be done
graphic
through
novel
Avatar.
coming out, I think, either this month or next month, because the graphic novel is based on the script he didn't use. He said the story was.
I mean, he's got to make money off of it somehow.
The story was so good.
Yeah.
No, he
Yeah.
said the story was amazing. It was a perfect sequel, but it didn't have that spiritual element that pulled you into this dream world that the first one did, and it had to have
So
that
wait,
element.
is it canonical or
like-
is it just a side, like a non sequitur?
I don't
Does it have
know.
anything to do with
It's
the
called Avatar: The High Ground. If you want to buy it.
no, it's
not. Why would he do that?
Obi-Wan Kenobi. in it.
Why would he pick a meme like that?
I don't know if it's high ground, but
is
it's
high ground.
high something. Hold on. Yeah, no, it is Avatar: The High Ground, Volume 1.
Why would he
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
That is the dumbest. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's canceled. It was the
He's so far up
script
his
they
own
scrapped.
ass.
They-
He's
The
so
Way of Water.
far up his own
The
ass.
high ground.
Hold on. Let me see if I can. I was working with a team of writers. We had a lot of ideas. We kept trying to corral it into a box, and it never quite fit. They just couldn't get those ideas into that box. So at a certain point, I said,
Pandora's box.
No. Here's where you got to listen. Because here's where it goes. The writers, all those other writers, they weren't good enough. So this is what happened. He said. So at a certain point, I said, I'll just finish it and see if it's a movie. So he had to take it away from him and finish it.
It's like, here, children, let me have it.
So he said, I did.
I'll take care of this.
So he said he did. He finished it. It came out, I think, at 130 pages. And I was like, man, this is a great story. This is a hell of a read. Okay.
that sounded like JC.
Yeah.
He's like, that's a hell of a read.
Yeah, he said.
Yes.
But he said it got axed because it was missing one of the critical elements about sequels, which is that it didn't go enough into the unexpected. It also didn't play enough by Avatar rules, which is to connect us to the dream world, that which has a spiritual component that we can't even quite quantify in words. See, that's what I'm saying. He's just pulled like. He's like, it's so brilliant, I can't even explain it. It's
That's
like,
right. Well, that's the thing. The essence of Avatar and Pandora is that it is unexplainable. It's
unobtainium.
exactly. That's
to say.
That's not because it's trite.
unattainable.
But that's not because it's trite and no good. It's just because it's so amazing that we can't figure it out.
You can't fathom it.
No.
The success. No,
there's
you struck gold with brilliant marketing and ridiculous 3D that everybody wanted to see at the time.
Yeah.
It was a once in a lifetime experience, and now I'm realizing that no, what this is James Cameron Unleashed. He was fickle about it early on in terms of saying, well, we'll see how this turns out. Now he's basically setting himself up for failure. He's having his cake and eat it too, because if it launches into the success, he could easily say, I just knew that the heart was there. I knew the story was that good.
I thought he filmed 3, 4, and 5 or
That's
something
what
together.
he's saying.
He's filmed 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are done. That's why they
That's
said
right.
if these don't
That's
do
right.
well, 3 can end it because he's filmed that one.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
4 and 5 are... The scripts are written, and he did say that there's a segment from 4 they've already filmed, but I guess they did that during 2 and 3, but they haven't actually gone into
The
filming.
other
before.
problem is that now he's on the boat too of saying if it flops, he can just say, well, the pandemic and all of the pushing back
It's
and
just a different
delays.
world.
It's just a different world. People just don't want to support it any. And I'm like, no, because it wasn't as intricate and unique as you
Here's the
thought. You're
thing.
not freaking Tolkien, man.
I think.
Stop.
Sadly, I think it will be a success. I don't think there's going to be a worry about releasing the sequels. I
But
think it'll
what's
be a
success?
But I don't think it will be anywhere near as big as the original.
Exactly. $1 billion.
And that's the thing. And I mean,
No,
granted,
I do think it'll crack $1 billion.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but not like a
Not
billion
3,
was
not
back
close to
then.
3,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not close
Yeah.
to 3, and definitely not over 2. Nowhere near 2.
I don't think it
China
will either.
eat this film. It will love it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's marketed towards them.
Yeah.
And it fits all of their spiritual crap. And he does. He can easily connect there. But in terms of longevity, sorry, I'm a little hiccup. Curse of JC. But
Oh,
it's like in
wow.
terms of longevity, Avatar doesn't have it.
But I do think that's him
its
saying
day is done.
when it's successful and they can make more, but it's not as successful as the first. He could say, "Well, see, I knew people had lost some interest, and that's why it's not as big." It's like, no, yeah, well, yes, people did lose interest because you waited a decade.
But
to
here's the
release
thing.
it.
Yeah,
But the first
true.
one wasn't that good enough to hold the interest anyway.
We just got one of the crappiest series ever called Rings of Power.
Yeah.
It came out 20 years after Fellowship of the Ring. We were hungering
people
for
wanted
that.
it, yeah.
We wanted it. We were craving
If
it.
Avatar was as amazing as
Oh,
everybody
absolutely.
acted like it was back then, it would still have a massive demand today.
It never had the legs that he thought it did.
Look at
It
Star
would have
Wars.
maybe had those legs had he come out maybe 2-3 years after the original. 10 years?
That's
a
what
decade?
I'm saying. I was one of those
Come
people.
on.
I fell into the first movie. Me and my brother-in-law Neil, we probably saw that in theaters 3 or
Y'all
4,
helped it
maybe
too much.
maybe
Yeah.
5 times. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
Like it was. I know we went 3 times here, and then we were like, no, the only IMAX theater is in freaking Newport, Kentucky. We're gonna go there and see it in IMAX 3D. Drove 2.5 hours to see that stupid movie. Like we were full on into it. If a sequel would have came out 2 years after the first one, I think I would have been knee deep in that. Like seriously.
Oh, and I think a lot of people
it's
would
been
have.
too long. Like
Yes.
I rewatch it and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't thrill me as much as
It's
it did the first
dated.
time.
I mean, the special effects were amazing for its time.
they really were.
But-
the 3D was.
But watching it now, I'm
best
like,
I've seen.
I don't feel like it holds up as well as other. Like honestly, and granted, I mean, the Lord of the Rings is a little bit dated too, but I feel
Yeah.
like it held
Well,
up
because
way
it has
better.
more than just special effects.
because
or,
a lot
or
of it's
gimmick.
practical too. It's not
but it's
CGI.
also the story, the characters, the actual
Yeah, there's a lot more than
depth
just
Yes.
that's there.
Yes.
Avatar
There's special story, too.
yeah, I'm sorry, it's not as
Yeah.
deep as he wants to believe it is.
His
Maybe
story
in
is
his
just
head.
a copy of other people's stories.
Right.
I hate to say it. It's
No,
an amalgam of like a
in
bunch
James
of different
Cameron's
stories.
head, he's told the most brilliant story ever written.
Oh, of course, and it's so spiritually
I just
elevating that we're just not going to understand it.
Ewa,
let me.
the tree.
He
Let
made
me
up,
see
He
when-
made up his own language. It's going to be a
Ewa.
dead language in 2 years.
Yeah.
Let me see when
Nobody's
the high
gonna
ground
remember that.
releases, so I can pirate it.
I want them to like.
the-
eventually, I want the virus to break out, and it would be called the Pandormic. I just want there to be like this virus on.
That'll be
Pandorma.
in movie 4 if it ever comes.
Pandormic.
He'll have to cover his angst
The
that he
high
had
ground.
during lockdowns. He'll have to cover that.
December 6th, so it's coming out right in time for the sequel. Yeah.
Well, you got to build it up. I mean, look, the guy
We're gonna
knows.
see it.
Oh, well, of course, we
Yeah.
kind of have to. And I'm not going to downplay the success to the point of it being a flop. No, I think it will be a flop in
No,
terms
I don't
of
think it'll be a flop.
trying to garner the same success as the first, or even being compared to. Because I think it's kind of asinine to think, even then, if you had asked James Cameron, did you have lightning in a bottle? I don't think he would have known the first Avatar movie was like that. It was just brilliantly marketed, and people were intrigued. And I'm sorry, yes, it paid off at the box office, but no, people are not talking about that movie 10 years later. It's just, it's dead. Nobody cares.
So I did look just because you were asking about whether it was canon or not, and it does say it'll serve as a direct prequel to the film. So
it's in between the first and the second movie.
I don't think it's integral to having read it, but it is a story that does fit in between 1 and 2.
Okay.
That way, if you do read it, like, it is canon, but you don't have to read it to see the movie.
Well, if it didn't do that, it wouldn't be brilliant, and if it's not brilliant, then it's not James Cameron's.
That's true.
So
he has spoken the truth.
Yes, the high ground.
Alrighty, guys. I think we're ready to. We'll find out come December.
Yeah, we'll see.
Is number 3 going to be the last one? We'll have to see. Is it going to be a trilogy?
James
I could just see it bombing so
Cameron.
bad that he just comes out and says, like, we're not even doing it.
We're not going to do the third one.
I don't care if
filmed
it's already
it, but
made.
I'm not releasing it.
I'm not releasing.
We're just
the
going to
edit.
pull a Warner Brothers, and we're just not going to release the.
And then he'll
already
just
made
drum
film.
up all this controversy
Yeah.
so that people would be like, release the Cameron cut.
That's exactly right.
Release
And
Cameron
we'll get
C3.
We'll get a 4-hour Avatar
Yeah,
3.
but see, it's
Gosh.
Disney now, and they don't do that. They're like, yeah, we don't care what people.
Oh,
like.
they'll pander. Who knows? We don't know what reckoning is coming at Disney. They may try anything if Wakanda Forever fails or flops.
It depends. See, if Avatar's woke, they'll support it. It just
We're going to see that this week.
This weekend, that's our next big movie on the block. We'll let you know what we think.
Wakanda Forever.
Can Marvel come back? We'll let you know next week. Let's move into our relationship segment.
Let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and the moon up above. Everything I love.
We got a great segment tonight. We're talking.
Like, I think you made that up while you were in the bathroom earlier.
What? Birds and the bees?
No. This.
It was.
Oh no! I
topic.
made it up earlier. I
Yeah,
did it earlier
when I was
today.
at work, I was looking and saw it. So I know
Okay.
at least
I
it's
didn't
been
get
that
the
long.
notes update until I
I
came in here.
No,
we're,
it was
we're of course
definitely,
talking about the. They're going to be our new sponsor. It's called Squirt.
Squirt.
It's perfect for your relationship needs.
Dating for all tastes and ages. Squirt.
Gosh, it's like, oh gosh, the noise.
Gotta have the sound effect.
Oh, I can't have that on there.
I like noises.
All right, let's talk about because it is election night in America.
In
we
America.
thought, what better way to be more divisive than to talk about the importance of politics in relationships? How important should it be? This could be a very, very contentious topic. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss. Let's debate on election night.
I mean, it I was just saying, I mean,
Out of the
it
gate.
really kind of depends on where you like. For me, it would be important because obviously, my political beliefs and morals are intertwined. So obviously, like, I vote based on my morals, and my political beliefs come from my morals, and I want somebody to share those morals. But I know other people who absolutely hate politics, who don't follow politics. So in that regard, that relationship, maybe politics wouldn't be important, but that's kind of a different thing because then I have to wonder, like, why are politics not important to you? And I'm not trying to call anybody out or not, because I don't think politics should control anybody's life by any means. I definitely, I think that you can go too far into anything and get extreme with it.
Yeah.
But to a certain extent, I don't think you should just ignore, because there are people who are like, well, I don't care about that. You get screwed over either way. It's like, okay, and then that's why you'll always get screwed over is because you don't give a crap and you just allow it to happen.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
And no matter what you think, sometime in that relationship, politics are coming up.
It's going to happen.
It's going to.
And then when it does,
It's either going to
it's
be
gonna
good
be
or bad.
explosive.
Right. Well, and I don't think any person who is married or in a relationship or even a very close friendship would say it's the most important thing. No, of course not.
No.
But I think it determines where you align your morals and your values to the extent of, for one, how important do you take those into consideration in your own life, but also, as a reflection of how do they. And that, of course, is going to either drive the relationship further apart or further closer together. And it could be contentious if it's kind of deep-seated and not really brought up. It could be something that is like, no, this actually helped us align our values a little bit better, help us understand each other.
I've known couples that are on different political spectrums, and it's odd, and I think that's more rare, but I think the ones that have a mutual respect and understanding make it work better. I don't think that's generally the case. I do think people who are that contrasted tend to don't work out. But I mean, there are, I think, the exceptions to the rule that understand that, look, I'm not going to hate you because you view differently from me.
And I think the ones who do work out are the ones who end up, they don't put a lot of weight in it.
Yes, they don't.
They don't let it be a reflection of their values or their morals.
No,
but they also don't pay that much attention to it in the first place.
Yes,
I get that.
Exactly. That's, I think, spot on.
Sean, do you and Amelia ever fight about politics?
I feel like he did.
Not really.
No.
I mean,
That's good.
Trying to single you out.
I am
there.
definitely.
Well, he's the one married guy at the table.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, I'm
yeah.
definitely the one in the relationship that's like into politics, and that as far as like I will speak my opinion about it, and I don't care what anybody thinks. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that I worry about too that have to do with politics and just the where our country is headed.
Yeah.
If things don't change and things like that, because I worry about that for my children more than anything else. And my wife doesn't really get as caught up in that. And I appreciate that because her reasoning for it definitely helps ground me, because her reasoning is, God is in control of all of this. I mean, Scripture says everybody in authority on earth is under his authority in there because he put them there. And it's like, okay, well, then I need to relax and trust in him that this is all part of the plan. Even if some of these things are happening or are bad, it's all part of the plan. Nothing happens against his will or outside of his will. So she grounds me in that and kind of pulling me back to have a little bit more faith. But then I just, I watch the news and I see the things happening. I'm like, how can this be a part of the, it's not that I doubt God. It's that I have a hard time
Doubt humanity.
I have a hard time looking at our existence here and everybody and
just
what they're
because
doing. And
God is in control doesn't mean that he doesn't give us the free will
The
to
free
be
will
the
to do something
terrible
about
people
it.
that we are.
well, yeah,
And that we choose to be a lot.
Right. He gives us the opportunity to do things about it too.
Yes.
And that's where me and her definitely differ in that opinion, because she's more passive and I'm more aggressive about it.
I like the
Yeah.
way you put that, because to give her a little bit of credit, and I think a lot of people who
just a little bit.
well,
Don't give her too much.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to start another war in the household or
No.
anything. I don't want to do that. No, but I to give her some credit, and anybody who may feel kind of indifferent about politics in any given relationship, again, significant other or a friend, I think it speaks to a bigger issue that we're even talking about this in this day and age, because politics has invaded every aspect of our life. And I think, 20 years ago, yes, you had Republicans and Democrats, but things were not as polarized as they are today. And yes, you can sit there and say that, no doubt our culture definitely needs that attention being paid to certain issues that come on the forefront of whether it is our Christian beliefs that are under attack or our livelihoods or our personal rights, our God-given rights that we are endowed by the Constitution and by our Creator. And ultimately, I think so much of why you see this division and really just vitriolic hatred towards so many people on the opposite side of the aisle from your own political spectrum is because it's become a facet in every aspect of your life when it used to not be. It used to be that you could say, I agree to disagree, and that was enough. But no, now it's, you agree to disagree because you're an evil person.
Yeah.
And that used to not be the case. And it's become so much. And I think, too, look, it always gets darkest just before the dawn. Yeah, Dark Knight Rises. But I honestly believe that we're working towards, we've made a few
dawn.
whips. Yeah, the dawn.
You're working for the dawn of justice.
The dawn of Mar-a-Lago. No, but it's like I think we've made a few quips tonight, mostly me, with regards to poking some fun based on political affiliation. But at the end of the day, I do think that as polarized as we are now, you do have to get to a contentious point where enough people say this is, for one, not worth it, or two, maybe this issue that I'm fighting for is so self-centered that I have to back off and realize that maybe I shouldn't, one, want to thwart that much control, and power from on my behalf over you. And it's like, I think so many people have that it comes from this place of like, no. I think what I think is right and you're wrong, and therefore I should be in charge of how you live your life. It's like, whoa, why in the world do we make that drastic leap in thought before we think about somebody else's well-being before anything?
Yeah.
And just make sure that we actually are showing them a loving aspect of humanity. And ultimately that Christ-like love that we yearn for and that we should show on a daily basis. And it's very hard. It is very hard in this day and age. And I think, again, to go along with what you brought up, Sean, and I think you're right. I think sometimes we can be a little too passive on the battlefield that we are called to fight on, because this is not God's domain. Earth is not his domain. Right. It is the devil's. And we are here in the world, not of it. We are fighting and waging that war every single day. And we can't give an inch because they'll take a mile. And we've learned that very sadly in the short amount of time. And I think as it's rapidly, as we've become more apathetic, we've seen how rapidly it devolves into just chaos and confusion and really true heartache. And you see a lot of lost souls out there who are yearning for direction, who are yearning to actually want to feel some hope in everyday life, to not just be those people who are up on a TV screen or a phone ranting and raving and yelling about whatever ridiculous thing they can be. I think some people do want to just move on with their lives, live it how they want to live it, and actually enjoy the little bit of time they have on this earth without it becoming such a ridiculous, convoluted mess of, why in the world do I need to know your political affiliation if I just want to shop in a store or eat at your restaurant or even just say hi to you walking down the street? So it is. I think the polarization has gotten there, and the reason it's become such a problem is because it's just infested everything in our society.
Apathy. I mean, when I go to a restaurant, before I tip them, I ask if they're a Republican or a Democrat. Because it's like, if you say Democrat, you ain't getting a tip.
Because you're just going to redistribute it.
That's how polarizing it is. Like, it's in everything. I walk past people, and when they say hi, I'm like, Democrat?
They
say, yeah.
You're not the problem, though. It's them. They are the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Gosh.
Wanted to say, going back to your apathy quote, apathy is on the rise, and no one cares. That's my favorite Joss Whedon joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was good.
It's a newspaper headline in Buffy, but it gets me every time I see it.
I
love it.
Only Keith.
Apathy is on the rise.
Remember that.
And of course, he would bring back that sexist bigot.
That's right.
That's the only reason I see. Here's the thing.
Prick.
Justice League.
I've always liked Joss Whedon, but now I love him even more because he's a sexist bigot. So it's like, well, now I can respect him.
Well, you are a true conservative.
I just want you to know that there were people who worked for him.
Yeah.
And he was rude.
He was mean to them.
He was rude to them.
He told nasty jokes to them.
Yeah. He told that a woman who was pregnant, she was too big for a role.
He didn't sit.
That is wrong.
He didn't sit on a lady and try to kiss her like Bill Murray, though. All he did was say mean things.
That's true.
So
he didn't try to disrobe himself in front of like Uma Thurman. I mean, gosh.
Now, wait. How come Joss Whedon?
That's how she got her break.
But how come
And so did Jennifer Lawrence.
Well, and Tarantino practically put her there.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm just saying.
Like, how come Joss Whedon and Bill Murray get attacked, but Tarantino everybody defends?
Because he's got a foot fetish.
That's it.
So does everybody else.
Because Tarantino didn't commit the crime.
No.
He was just laying down the treats to lead him there. He woefully and ignorantly ignored what was going on.
Yeah.
That's it.
Heart of gold. That
heart of gold. Heart of gold. Alrighty, guys. I think that's going to do it for tonight's episode. But hey, on this election night, maybe you got out, you voted. Don't let it divide your household.
Yes, dude.
We've got brighter days ahead.
Start a civil war
Redder
with your
days.
family.
Red days.
Redder days.
The blood moon is out. I thought that was fitting.
that was this morning.
Yeah.
It was Tuesday morning.
It was Tuesday morning. That
Well,
the eclipse
it was not
going.
blood red when I went in. I just saw the
It's
eclipse.
like early in the morning. Yeah, very
That's
early.
It was
BS.
6, like literally
it's
when I
only
went to
red as it's like rising
because it's on
when
the
it comes up.
horizon. On the
Yeah.
When I went to vote at like 6 in the morning is when it was red.
Really, you saw it red?
Yeah.
Oh man, you should have tweeted that. You should have Instagrammed
I don't.
that.
My camera's busted.
They're
can't-
like, it's not. I think it's so funny when you read about these blood moons. First of all, they happen every year. They happen
This
like
is
20
the
times a
last
year.
one
Like
for 3 years.
No, it's the last one. The
last full eclipse.
The
for
last
3
full
years.
eclipse for 3 years,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Oh, it's the last time it'll happen on election day until 2341 or
Well, yeah,
something."
right.
And I'm like, "Well, yeah, on election day." But I mean, come on. The,
What was I
the
saw
Jews
the
had a
one
calendar
where-
with blood moons on it all the time. It's just a blood moon. It doesn't signify.
It really signifies you should be subscribing and liking more of the Red Moon podcast.
That is right.
Blood Moon on Red Moon Tuesdays. I mean, come on, that's what it signified to me.
I think we should just stop calling it the blood moon and just call it the red moon.
Well, not every red moon I thought was a blood moon. I think a blood
not.
moon was something.
There's a
more
harvest
specific.
moon.
Well,
a blood
maybe the
moon.
blood-
Well, there's the harvest moon and hunter's moon.
Hunter's
are the-
moon,
That's the
yeah.
end of summer and the beginning of fall.
Right.
I honestly,
Keyword there. What you just said. It's the end of this and the beginning of that.
Yeah.
It happens every
Every
year.
year.
There's
Right.
nothing significant about it.
Oh, I see
It
the red
happens
moon
every
all the
mo-
time.
Yeah.
It happens
Yeah.
all the time. I
People
really
are like,
do.
"Oh, it's an omen," and I'm like, "No. When one shows up that's not supposed to show up, then you can call it an omen.
Then it's an omen.
When there's a total eclipse of the sun that isn't on the calendar or predicted, then you start saying, "Oh my God!" But when it's on the freaking calendar and has been for 1,000 years,
Yeah.
it's nothing special.
Blood moons only happen during a full eclipse. So yeah.
Okay.
So
it's
that's when-
red
so when
just
it's
before
red
it
during
has
the-
a
yeah,
lunar
yeah,
eclipse.
yeah.
I gotcha. Well, all I know is I have thought about wanting to do something on days where we have red moons for Red Moon production. I
Yeah,
just don't know what
okay.
it is.
We need to
I
think
don't
of
know.
something.
We gotta think of something.
Man, that hunter's moon
Yeah.
back in September.
was
that
awesome.
was huge
crazy.
and
Thing was
red. That was
ridiculous.
great.
yeah, that's when it's low to the horizon
looked
and it
like-
appears to be bigger.
Yeah, it was massive, man.
Nerdy comment. I don't know if y'all ever played GTA 3 where they had that cheat, or it was kind of a not cheats. What are they called?
Mods?
Not a mod.
No?
Glitch.
No, it was what are they? They're cheats and oh gosh, there's another term and I'm missing it. Like it's just a stupid little gimmick in the game that they
Easter eggs.
yeah, like an Easter egg. It was kind of
Okay.
an Easter egg. I
Okay.
guess I'm losing my mind. I've been up
Should've
way
said that
too long.
first.
He was saying cheats, so I was trying
Yeah.
to go along with.
Go along with that line
I don't
of
feel
thought.
like yeah.
Go ahead.
I've lost my mind.
yeah.
But you could look down the barrel of the sniper rifle or the scope of a sniper rifle, and you shoot the moon, and it blows up in
Oh.
the sky, and it makes it bigger in the sky. And it was like that night when we
Yeah.
saw the hunter's moon. It was
Okay.
freaking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like a big. Okay, anyways, swallow us, like, share, subscribe.
Swallow us. Yeah, he did.
Squirt, our new sponsor, wants you to swallow us.
That's right. Swallow us.
Red Moon book, Red Moon tweet, Red Moon pics, and finally we have a handle at YouTube. If you do youtube.com/@Red Moon Productions, we're there. That's our page. Like, share, subscribe. We appreciate all the love and all the squirts.
What about
Betterment,
what
man,
about
I'm telling you.
electronic
That's
mail?
weird stuff.
Oh yeah, we have that too. It's
Oh.
old. It's a little outdated, but we do have it.
When you mail things electronically.
Dust off the old email.
Yeah, right there. What does it say, Keith, at the bottom of your screen?
RMPodcast at redmoonproductions.com.
It sounds better when you're kind of sick.
Yeah, I got a little bit of that rasp in there.
Yeah, the deeper
Yeah.
voice. It makes it a little bit deeper.
RMPodcast at redmoonproductions.swallow us.
I was hoping. I thought it was going to be
Wow.
dot squirt or
Dot
something. that was even better. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep. So thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We hope next week you all will tune in 9 p.m. right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, all the streaming platforms, Twitch and Twitter, all of them. Yeah. We hope you will tune in for our discussion of Wakanda Forever. We'll see if
Everything's
it's,
gonna be all right.
That's right.
Is it? We'll see.
Hey, it is here on this show every single week.
Yeah.
Love when y'all
Okay.
tune in and share the love.
Okay.
Alrighty, guys. Thank y'all so much. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Me.
never fails. Squirt.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.